Yes, yes, yes. 1212 live and direct. We are right now broadcasting from Agency Colab. This is located in New Delhi at the Dhan Mill compound. This is a Box.fm pop up. We set up the radio station here Wednesday to Saturday, every day, 12 p.m. onwards. We're inviting people to have conversation, chat, open it up for everybody to kind of talk about what's happening. And yeah, today is the second session. I'm going to let Zorawar introduce everyone and then hand over the mic. If you want to drop some questions, it's on YouTube and boxout.fm chat room. Yeah, check it.
All right. Big up Box Out FM for having us here this afternoon. My name is General Zooz. I am part of Reggae Rajahs. We have been spreading Jamaican music and culture in India for the last, I don't know, gosh, almost 12 years now. Also, we've got a music festival called Goa Sunsplash that we've been doing for the last 5 years, further spreading the culture. And over the last few years or so, we've linked up with many, you know, people with the similar vision as us. And a big part of that has been dancers. I think the dance movement in India has really kind of exploded in the last few years, whether it's Jamaican dance or African dance. And yeah, I'm just happy to have two very talented, hardworking dancers from Delhi with me this afternoon. We've got Garima, or Lady Lolita. She represents for Jamaican dance and Jamaican culture in Delhi. And we've got Aakanksha, who represents for Project Africa and the African side of dance and culture. Is there anything, I mean, you girls just want to maybe say a few words about what you've been up to for the last couple of years, your sort of, yeah, maybe just a little bit about yourselves and what you've been doing in Delhi over the last few years. Garima, why don't you kick it off?
So I've been into this culture and like fond of this culture since the past 4 years now. And yeah, the moment I came back from London, that's where I was first introduced to dancehall. I knew I have to like share this vibe, and that year I got this idea about this dancehall camp that I organized last year. Is a dancehall thing, so it's a way to like able to connect Jamaican teachers and other international teachers and able to help people from India to really understand the culture and really able to feel the vibe. And yes, I've been into teaching, performing, and I just founded my own crew, ID Dance Crew, and we're all about the love for this culture and trying to share good vibes and dance all vibes here in India. Akanksha?
So, my name is Aakanksha, and I'm representing Project Africa here. I just want to give like a little brief introduction about what Project Africa is and how it came about. So basically, my introduction to Afro music per se was by accident. So when we started dancing, I think both of us, whether it was for like dancehall or Afro dance, no one really knew much about the culture, the music, or the dance in Delhi or anywhere in India actually. But I mean, she went to London and where like the scene is so huge. I mean, for both Afro and Caribbean cultures, people are crazy about it. But India, people had like zero idea about it. So when I was introduced to it through a friend who actually organized a couple of international artist workshops, I thought that this is something that we are really missing out on and something that India really needs. So I came up with this idea that probably I need to um, you know uh, give this platform to students, teachers, and dancers, or just dance and music enthusiasts who want to get together and just vibe or just talk about the culture. I mean, I'm one person here in Delhi. There might be someone sitting in Bombay who knows about Afro culture, who wants to talk to like-minded people. So that's how the idea came about, and not just for music and dance, but also to bring together people for a purpose, as in for awareness. And yeah, so that's how Project Africa came into picture, and it's been there, and it's been we've been organizing camps and calling out artists from various parts of the world since the past 2.5 years now.
So if you don't mind, why don't you tell us a little bit about what it was about African dance, or where your first experiences of of African dance or culture or music were, and how did you decide that this was gonna be like a mission for
Okay.
you?
So I think it initially started with just music. I mean, going for parties like social events, Reggae Rajahs were playing at a lot of events, and I would go there and I would just vibe with the music. And at that point of time, I would just flow and dance and move, and I didn't really know that these styles of dance existed. But my first encounter,
So what type of dancer are you trained as, or what type of dance?
um, I'm actually a trained Kathak dancer.
Okay,
So I have a
nice.
classical background, and
Mhm.
eventually I moved to streets. So I started doing hip hop, and whacking, like all these street styles. I started experimenting different places. So I was very open to trying out new things. And there's this group called Moto Dancers who are in Dubai. So
Mhm.
when this one workshop was organized in Delhi. Uh, by Moto Dancers, I was like, it's something new. I've never heard of it. I should just go and try. Maybe I'm gonna like it. I don't know. I was just free and I just went for it. And after those 5 to 6 hours of workshops, I felt so different, like I'd never felt before. So I felt like, I found my soul dance. So that was the moment, and I still remember, like I'm still getting goosebumps because that moment was like
How,
the
how,
moment I was waiting for.
how many years ago was this?
This was almost 3.5 years ago.
And before that, musically, you said you were also influenced musically.
Yeah.
So, what were your kind of earliest? You mentioned Reggae Rajas, but what else? Was there anyone playing specifically Afro music at the time that you kind of were
Um,
like, oh, this is cool, this is a vibe, I can jam out to this?
yeah.
Or was that a
So
discovery on your own?
I think there was a lot of Burna Boy music that was getting slowly popular.
Mhm.
So I think the first artist that really, I was fascinated with was Burna Boy, and eventually went to P Square was like the commercial, dance music artist, and then eventually I found out about A Star, who specifically now makes Afro dance music. So he's called the King of Afro dance. So once I encountered his music, like from one YouTube video, I went to another and I kept on listening to, new songs. And that's how I discovered new artists and realized that even within this genre, there are such different flavors. And I just started enjoying all of them.
For
Yeah.
sure. What about you, Garima? What would you say was your first kind of experience of Jamaican dance or music, and how were you bitten by that bug?
So for me, it didn't start with music actually. It started from dancing itself. And it actually did not even start from a dance hall video. It started from this video by Justin Bieber called Sorry. I think it, like, for a lot of people, that was like something crazy. So when I was in London, like I was there for my studies and I wanted to try different
Sorry, I
stuff.
haven't seen the video. What is it? What's in the video?
Oh, you haven't seen Sorry
I don't
video?
think
Okay,
so.
so there's
Maybe.
there's this crew.
No, I know
Paris
who
Gober,
Justin
yeah.
Bieber is. What do you mean?
So there's this crew called Royal Family, and
Uh-huh.
they all the dancers from there, like they're using dancehall
moves.
movements, but
Okay.
it's not the most like once you're there,
Adapting.
yeah, trying to like get inspired from that.
And it was really like well done video, and that inspired
was-
people to dig into dancehall.
Yeah, for
Okay.
me at least, and I think for
Okay.
a lot of people, like a lot of my friends as well, like we would copy their moves and try to like.
It was a super hit. Like when Sorry came out, I think Paris Gober, like New Zealand and the entire request crew was put on the map, and everyone started googling them, searching for them, and the video was
Right, sorry, it was requested.
so popular among the dancers, especially because it was full on dancing and like crazy amount of dancing,
Yeah.
and all inspired from African and Jamaican culture. So I think that's what really started like let people dig in like deeper, that what is this style, where does it come from.
Interesting. So one video like that by
Yeah.
Justin Bieber actually inspired.
And that's what made me
lot
go
of
for a
people.
class,
Okay.
like a dance hall class. And
So that was the first time you'd say you saw dance hall, or you realized that okay, this is actually dance hall. Like you connected the dots.
like it was definitely different because the dance hall class I went to was more of gun style. So it was definitely not But because I was more I don't say I'm a trained dancer. Like I think dancehall is the only dance style that I've actually digged in and tried to get it from the scratch. So when I went there, like it was completely different, but the energy is what like attracted me, and not even the songs, but the movement. And the more I went, the more I understood, and in terms of songs, okay, there's this different vibes in dance. It's not just gangster music, and definitely it wasn't nothing like the video in Sorry. Like definitely it was something different, but that was my start. And I got so much into it that I remember I had like a very important event back in my university. Like it was a event for all the scholars, and I actually ditched that to go attend my dance class. So that's how much it got me. And
Yeah.
I found this beautiful people there. We started training together. And when I came back, like I knew I have to share this feeling, because it's some like when I was here, I knew some people are into dancehall, but it was so less. It's nothing like it's now, definitely.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in terms of dance, you were trained in a certain style, or it was kind of a hobby for you before this?
Just a hobby. Like this was never planned for me. It was just a hobby. Like I was more into hip hop choreography style, but not like train. I did join classical forms, but I would leave everything. Like nothing got me, okay, I want to do this.
So it started with dance. You got kind of hooked to this energy and this movement and this like style of, whatever dance. But how has the music kind of also played its part in you embracing this culture? What is the connection? How has that relationship been?
So it definitely started with dancing, but yes, I would definitely go back to music, which is, I think music really helped me understand lot of like give me a part of the culture, like understand a bit of history, where it's coming from, where's that, because ultimately it's music that's driving the dance. It's not the
Yeah,
other way around.
for sure.
It's music
Yeah.
that's
I mean, I
giving
guess
that direction.
now it kind of is also, but in the
Other way,
beginning
yeah.
at least.
In
yeah.
the beginning, yeah. I'm a new school dancer, so I started from late 2000s moves.
Correct.
So that sort of music. But when I digged in more with Bogle and John Hype stuff, and then okay, that's not the music they were dancing to. So and I would watch these pasa pasa videos on YouTube and try to and because I've always been into parties and stuff, so I think it like got me really attracted to that part, because it is a social dance ultimately. So yeah, like the music for me played a role when I wanted to learn more about the culture, and that's how it helped me go back to the roots, in fact. So from music I went to the roots, actually. So definitely,
I
yeah.
think that's a very interesting point. I think like whether it's Afro or Jamaican dance, I think it's very hard to ignore the music or separate the two, because actually, these styles of dance, I feel they're not really like classroom dances. They're not really dances you can technically learn in a studio. I mean, you can, but it's not really the vibe. You know what I mean? Like, you need to see it in a party. You need to see it in a community. You need to see it, with other people around you in a very different setting. But what about for you? What is the connection with the music that you have?
So, on that note, something I was reminded of was when I was learning Afro from a Nigerian artist, like a dancer. She would really, I mean, ask me to watch video. Like she'd send me links on an everyday basis on my WhatsApp that watch this dance music, because it's so interlinked and interconnected that dancers are coming up with dance moves on that particular music, and like dance moves are being created on a certain music. So she would make me understand the music so that I could probably dance to that music in a much better way. And she would always tell me one thing, that Akanksha, if you can't enjoy the music, you will never be able to enjoy the dance. So for you to love the music is primary and loving the dance is secondary. You can't just come to me and say, I love Afro, please teach me. She was like, you have to like be into the music first. So that was something that really stayed and still in my head. And that goes for any style actually. Like if you connect with the music, which is why you feel like dancing. And if you're not feeling the music, you really can't dance. Like it'll just not come from your soul.
That's so true. I think that's very true, and especially since I've seen this explosion of dance. Like I remember Reggae Rajahs, like we've always understood the importance of dance when it comes to representing a certain culture or trying to, we, I guess, as people who've been bitten by the bug of Jamaica and Jamaican music and Jamaican culture, I think dance has always been something that we've been very keen on pushing, to the point where, we ourselves, three of us, have done moves in front of crowds, like getting people to do the moves and stuff, because it adds this, element of energy and this, crazy connectivity where the community is suddenly united in one dance and doing something together. And for me, that's the beauty of Afro and Jamaican dances, is that it's like a party thing which people do in a community, so these extremely like difficult Jamaican moves, and I don't know enough about Afro, but I'm sure there are also very developed Afro moves and all that, but that kind of like takes away from, I feel, the actual vibe or essence of this style of dancing, which is a community thing. It's a social dance that everyone kind of does together, like in a setting,
Yeah.
together. So yeah, so I think for us to see this evolution of dance, Jamaican styles of dance and African styles of dance in India has been amazing, because we've been professing this and trying to get this thing, involved as part of the music scene and as part of the cultural push for a long time, and now that you guys are all doing this, there's so many different crews, Bombay, Chennai, Bangalore, there's all people from everywhere in the country doing Jamaican and African dances. I think it's very important, like you said, that people remember that these two things are inextricably linked, that you cannot separate the music and the dance, and that people have to start digging the music and exploring the music. It can't be enough that they're just like, oh, we love dance hall. You don't love dance hall if you think, Justin Bieber Sorry is a dance hall song. You know what I mean? Like, you don't love Afro music if Wizkid or P Square is the only African artist you can name, then you haven't discovered enough. You haven't dipped in enough, So I think that's
Also,
Like,
yeah.
sorry. Yeah, on that note, like, yeah, definitely, I think that's one thing I always say, this, that you need to dig more, for sure, because it definitely started for me with the Justin Bieber video, but it's not like I'm listening to him again and again now. It's just something.
of course that was your intro. That was your,
Exactly,
like,
that was
open
an
your eyes. You're like, oh shit, what is this
yeah,
dance form?
that's
Yeah.
something different. And like now, I'll be listening more to the early 2000 songs, more, Beanie Man and
Yeah,
Elephant Man and all, like, the
definitely.
for
That's the
sure.
best time.
And but I mean, yeah, it's all like, if you're doing dancehall moves just, to random music, then it's not dancehall. Yes, you're inspired by the movement, and you're trying to take that inspiration, but I won't call it dancehall, for sure. Like, it has to be together.
Yeah, I have to say, like, I mean, there's so many people teaching dance hall and teaching Afro in the country when it comes to dance now. I can see that because I follow so many dancers now. I've known you guys for a while. So it's like I can see all this happening. But at the same time, I can also see that some people are doing it for popularity, or some people are doing it for hype. Some people, I get it. Dancers, it's not an easy profession. Maybe they need to make money, they need to live, they need to survive. So they're teaching a bit of dance hall, teaching a bit of Afro, but they're not really rooted to the culture per se, and not really, in it from here. It's more like, okay, I've done a bit of dancehall, but I can teach, let me make some money. It seems like that to me,
And it's
you
also
know.
because people know what dancehall is, they know what Afro is, but they really don't know what it is, like what the roots are. So probably they just know what they see in videos, on the popular videos, like of commercial artists. But if you really dig in, it's so vast, like there's no end to it. From dance, music, the styles, history, everything. This so huge, and there's
I,
so much to learn.
Definitely. I mean, I have friends who are not really dancers or into dancehall music, but they've been to every dancehall event almost. This one friend of mine always comes along with me for Goa Sunsplash, and she's not into even reggae music, like, but she would just love the vibe. And like, randomly, once we met, and she had these songs in her playlist, and I was like, oh my god, how do you have this? I like this. So I just shazammed it and put it, and I saved it, and that's how it starts. Like, it's just one thing that clicks. And yeah, it can be the vibe, it can maybe food, fashion, music, dance, anything, and that's the beauty of this culture.
For sure, for sure. I think you're right. It's like, giving people experiences and opportunities to understand that this is all linked and that this is all connected, that it's not a one-off thing. Like a dance hall party is actually half the party it is without dance hall dancers, you know? Like I mean, it's creating those experiences for people. Like, even for example, the dances I've seen, I haven't actually been for any Afro workshops, but I can speak for the dancehall ones. So at least when I see people like Orville or Blacker or even Famous, when they go into a club setting, they change. So they've got a lot of energy in the workshop. Sure, they're pumping people up, but the moment you put them into a club, it's like the swag is there, the style is done. They're like, give me the mic. They just want to like get on the mic and do whatever, hype the crowd. Like, they're ready for anything.
That's where all their dancing has come from.
Yeah.
I mean, this is where they originated. All the dancing. You talk about club dancing, social dancing, street dancing. It's really from the clubs or the streets. These events, social events as they call them.
Exactly.
When you come together, you vibe.
Exactly.
And then you sort of share.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that cannot be created in any workshop.
For sure. And I think even if you attend in such event alone, you won't be alone, because the vibe and especially when you are doing those dancehall moves or those Afro moves together, you're part of something, you're part of a community, you belong there. And I think that is the feeling that I think everybody enjoys. Like, this is one feeling that I enjoy the most when I come in a dance hall or a party, or yeah, like even a class maybe sometimes, that you belong somewhere. And yeah, so definitely these moves, there's so much of history, but even if you don't enjoy that, if you're not even into the history, it's fine. Just come,
Oh, totally. Yeah.
come to enjoy the vibe.
Exactly. And it's not about being technically perfect. It's not about being like, this foot was wrong or this move. I mean, it's so free. Like, even dancehall, like, it's probably similar in Afro. I don't know, maybe. But like, these moves, there's no like real fixed way that you have to do the move this way. Like, every dancer adds his own little sauce to the move, and they all do it in different ways. So yeah, it's really about evolution, personality, and kind of putting this whole thing together. So yeah, tell me a little bit more about Africa and the kind of connection with Afro culture in India, because I'll tell you, like, from a Reggae Rajahs perspective, I think we started playing Afro music not too long ago. I would say probably 2012, 2013. Well, I guess now that's 7-8 years. But but it's like, we started doing it because we found suddenly that this music was kind of similar to dancehall and reggae, and there were a lot of influences. Okay, there's something bubbling in Africa. Like, these people, they're putting together dancehall, reggae, R&B, hip hop, and this is a cool sound. And we can play this in a Reggae Rajahs set, and people will dance and people will vibe to this. So our ears kind of perked up at that point. But since then, since 2012, I think now there are Afrobeats DJs in India, people who are basically only playing Afrobeats, and it's becoming a scene. So tell us a little bit about the Afro culture scene as a whole, like music, dance, everything.
Afro, we usually use the word Afro as a general term. But today, when I say Afro, I think most people would go to Afrobeat.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
But also, if you really see, there's a lot of variations to it. When it started, it was influenced by jazz music.
Sure.
So when
Fela
we all know about
Kuti
Fela
and-
Kuti,
yeah.
right? So when he began in the 70s, he was inspired. Obviously, he was, I guess, in London, if I'm not wrong.
Mhm.
And he was so inspired by the jazz influences
Yes.
that he took all these traditional music and the knowledge he had, combined it and fused it together and created something of his own,
Yeah.
which came to be known as Afrobeat.
Mhm.
Right? Eventually, now also we have a lot of debate about what's Afrobeat, what's
What's
Afrobeats,
Afropop, what's
or
Afrobeats,
yeah.
yeah.
Afrobeats.
Yeah. So it's just because there have been so many different artists from different backgrounds, different sort of knowledge and perceptions, which is trying to mix and match and create something of their own. So yeah, so there's a lot of influence of the West, of pop culture. And when they're fusing traditional music with them, they're also inspired by their own community. So if you listen to Afrobeat music, and if you listen to Dambolo, or if you listen to Coupe de Kali music, right, which comes from Congo and Ivory Coast, they're absolutely different. For probably a layman, they would not be able to guess. It's the same because there's a lot of drum sounds in it.
Sure.
Right? There's a typical this pattern that you'll find everywhere. But if you are an Afro music enthusiast, you'll know the difference, and then you'll see there's a very stark difference, right? So now, what the dancers and music community is doing is they're actually collaborating within themselves. So now there's like no demarcation. Okay, this is Dambolo,
Yeah,
this is
which is
African
absolutely
music.
amazing.
And it's
That's so
all coming
exciting.
together
Yeah,
and
it's really
flowing, and it's
exciting.
so beautiful.
Especially now you see artists from different countries collaborating with each other in Africa. I'm talking about, different styles of music, like maybe a West African artist getting on like a South African rhythm, East African artist collaborating with a West African artist. So yeah, a lot of, you're right, you're absolutely right. It's this amalgamation of influences from around the world that has bubbled up in Africa, which has made this sound so unique and really exciting. But I guess what I'm wondering is like, how do you see it has grown in India? Because like I said, like obviously being Reggae Rajahs, our influence has always been more Jamaican. And, I love Afro music, I love African music, and I fully, wholeheartedly support this new sort of generation of African music coming out of Africa and dance. And even at Sunsplash and all, we always promote the dance and the music of Africa, not just Jamaica. So I know a bit about it, but tell us a bit like more. What is this? What is the African music scene like in India right now? What is the dance scene actually like in India? Because yeah, I mean, a few years ago, we had African bands in India. So Afrobeat bands. So I've collaborated with a couple of bands from Congo, Nigeria, a couple of artists who living in India. But that was very much on like a live band kind of setup. Now, I guess this new Afro pop, if you want, or Afro beats, has become so popular that it's become mainstream almost. It's getting to that point. So, is there a community of music lovers that you know of DJs that you know of, nights specifically dedicated to African music?
Yeah. So there were two actually instances that I found out, I think, couple of years back only, when I was starting to learn about African music. One was this group of percussionists who were like half from West Africa, and other ones were from different parts of India. And they would actually come, like they'd decide a day and time, they'd come in Delhi or they'd go to Pune, and they'll jam together. I think it's the Sunshine Ensemble, if I'm not wrong. But they had such great influence from the West African drums that they would collaborate. I was also called for one of their nights, and I danced on live, drums and music.
Roots
Yeah, the
style.
roots, like that is the roots that I'm talking about. Like,
Yeah.
no electronic music, nothing but the roots. And uh, believe me, they would play it for hours and hours without getting tired. Like they're sweating and they're playing the drums. And there were a set of, I guess, 10 or 12 people. And this was happening in Delhi. And I had zero clue about it. And I just happened to see the poster, went for it, and they saw me, and then it was just that hit. Oh, African dancer. Oh, okay, music. So let's just collab and let's get together. So I went for another show of theirs, and we did this jamming session. So that was great. That was something that I didn't know existed. So that was one. Another one was there's one club, I can't remember which one, but it was specifically, I think only the Africans were invited to that club, or it was actually organized by Africans. And my brother actually happened to be good friends with the DJ, so he just took me one night, and all I'm seeing is 90% Africans in the club, and all of them. I felt like all of them are dancers, and then I start talking to them, and they're like, no, we are not dancers. We just came to party. You walk into the club and you feel like they're all dancers, because it's just in their blood. And there were, I think, there's two DJs who were playing amazing Afrobeat sounds. And it was also one of the first encounters when I was blown. I mean, there was not even probably one track that I did not groove to or move to. I had zero idea about African dance moves at that point of time. I was just following what was happening around me. That is how I got to know about the culture, and the fact that it is there in India, and it is there in different parts of India.
Well, I think you're right. I think the African students have been around in India for a long time, and actually, that's its own scene in every little city, whether it's
And there's
Delhi,
this another
Bombay,
like
Bangalore.
community because I would get my braids done from this African salon, and they would always play African music, and they would be dancing. Like at one point, I'll also dance with them,
Where
and they
was
have
this
this
salon?
in Saket,
Nice.
and like it's still there, I think. But yeah, like they have this huge community. Like they would dress up, go to the church every Sunday, and get their braids done, and they'll also most of them were DJs, like people who were working there. So that was crazy. Like I didn't know like there's this community, probably because
Yeah.
like it's through these little things you find out.
Definitely. Well, the fucked up thing is that they are actually not allowed into
That's
a lot
true.
of the
That's
clubs, the mainstream clubs. For whatever reason. Well, we know the reason. It's racism, basically. But yeah, I mean, I guess few of them, spoiled the image for the whole community, which is such a shame because that it should never be like that. Obviously, that a few people who've been involved in illegal activities or whatever kind of put a bad name onto a whole racial group in our country, which is crazy. But I guess that's what it is. It's like people who don't have a place to party in the mainstream, so there are all this underground scene happening of their own, which yeah, most of us are not tapped into, and just a few of us get to experience, whether it's dance or music. So yeah, I think African students have their own communities in all these cities. But I mean, in terms of more, I guess, mainstream access, is there a place or a forum or a group or a page on Instagram or anything which maybe is like an Afrobeats community of India, where you can go and all the dance workshops happening in Delhi or Chennai or Bombay are posted, or where the nights happening in these places are posted? Is there
So,
anything like that or no?
I recently got in touch with Swapnil from Burnout Room. So,
Starboy.
Starboy Nation, that's right. So yeah, he's been doing some really good work right in Pune. And when it comes to dancing, there's been a frontal who's been in this scene for years now. And there's one group that's authentic, I'd say. And they're doing amazing job.
Well, I mean, yeah, speaking of which, it goes back to the fact that they're actually into the music,
Right,
I
right,
mean,
very true.
Marianne, Alicia, Divya, these people, they love the music, they dig into the music. So that's where the passion comes from. But there's no such like community page or something where like Afrobeats lovers can.
I think right now the Afro community is really small. Like everyone knows each other, and we
Probably
have
this is
WhatsApp
giving me an
groups.
idea to start up something like
Yeah,
this.
so I think Project Africa initially started with that idea,
Okay.
but we haven't been like too active on it because we've been just busy organizing events and all of these things. But now, after this international online event happened, we do have a huge WhatsApp group now, which is just full of, I mean, more than 50, 60 people. It's just Afro dancers and Afro lovers from all over India.
But this is for
So-
dance primarily.
This is for dance primarily, but
Mm.
yeah, there are like few musicians and few people who were into music who wanted to try it out. But I don't think there's one specific page where the entire community is, sort of
Because I
coming
have to
together.
say, like, in the 12 years that we've been trying to push Jamaican music in India, it suddenly feels like over the last couple of years, African music has gotten more popular. So all the work that we've put in, it's like suddenly like artists like Wizkid and Burna Boy, they just changed the game because they become pop. They became pop artists, right?
And I'll tell you why that happened. It's only because of these collaborations with these commercial artists.
Yeah, I mean
With
Drake, right?
Drake
He's the one who
and-
blew up
yeah.
Wizkid, like you can say,
Drake,
into a popular
Wizkid,
space.
Davido, Chris Brown,
Yeah,
also Rihanna when she did,
Yeah.
the Guara Guara.
yeah,
Everyone went crazy. Now Beyonce
the
has
full album.
the entire
full album.
album. The entire album.
Yeah. So so I mean, I'm just wondering. Like, I feel like the rate at which it's growing, awareness about African music and dance and popularity, is probably more than Jamaican culture at this point in India.
I think also like I think they get that recognition also because I see a lot of like in terms of dancing, a lot of these big artists use dancehall moves as well. but that credit is always missing. I see these like artists promoting themselves that okay, we did this move, and they're using it and
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah, I mean, I think it also, like, it's very important to give the credit also, because that's how people reach out, like otherwise it's just a random thing that's happening. Because I think with Afro, that's definitely pushing it more. I don't
I
know.
think it's
Yeah.
very different for Afro and dancehall in that sense, because dancehall, I'd say, is still more, let's say, stricter in that way. But I think Afro allows you much more freedom. For example, if an artist creates a move and you just take that move, and you obviously don't claim to be yours, but you're just, using it, you're dancing to it, you wouldn't mind. You make it your own, you dance it in your own fashion. But yeah, and that's a good thing also. It's just two different things, that in dance hall, it's just a way to respect the creator, that you have to at least mention and give credit.
I think that's very important to
Right,
Jamaicans.
right.
For whatever reason, let's not get too much into that, but they are very, very proud of their culture, and
True.
they want to be respected. I think, again, for various reasons, they feel that they do tend to get ripped off, and do tend to get like, for example, it's not just a dance thing, it's a music thing too. So now what's popular, you see every Hindi rapper in this country is making what? Dance hall tracks, not hip hop. It's all tuk, 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 tuk,
Reminds
tuk,
me of
tuk.
Mirchi, certainly.
That's what it is, because it's the sound has become pop. And if people don't know, like you telling me these Hindi rappers know that that's a dance hall beat? No, they think it's probably some pop beat or something, that they've got tropical beats or something, house, tropical house or something. They'll think it's some like cool beat. They don't know that's dance hall music.
That's a great point. Because when we were listening to Apache Indian and Rishi Rich collaboration,
We didn't know
we
that.
had
Yeah.
zero idea. We were
course.
like, oh,
Yes.
that's so cool. Okay, all we thought was, oh, this will probably be an American artist.
Raghav also,
Yeah,
like, that's what, like, I think I started listening to the music way before, but I had no
No
idea
knowledge
what I'm
about it.
listening to is actually this. For sure.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I think it's important to I mean, you guys are at the forefront of this community, like whether it's someone like Starboy who's representing the music, someone like you who's representing the dance. I think this bringing together and marriage of the music and dance. That's why I'm so happy. Like I know Starboy played at your after party, at your event after party a couple of months ago or a month ago or whatever. So it's nice to see you guys linking up with each other, supporting each other, and pushing the culture in a unified way. So I think, yeah, think about it. If Project Africa is a platform maybe you could use for this, I think it could be really effective. Because the one thing that I've started getting as someone who promotes music in India is a lot of inquiries from Africa saying, are you guys ready for these African artists? Do you want to book them? Now, the difference is the African artists are a little different to the Jamaican artists, in that the Jamaican artists, most of them, you say, yeah, man, kingfish and two spliffs on the beach, it's cool. But these, Nigerian artists and Ghanaians and all that, they want straight cash. They're like, yo, we're not trying to we're not on that level. Like, it's a money thing. So if we can get them big shows, if we can get them guaranteed fees, we do have the possibility of having some of these singers and some of these artists come down to India. But it takes a concerted, unified effort to grow this culture.
It's always been a dream, because I would always, hear so much about Afro Nation. So I would always wonder that when will Afro Nation happen in India?
Well, Sunsplash is not so far away. It can turn into an Afro Nation vibe. Like if there's enough demand, and if you can book someone like Davido and it's going to sell out the place, then sure, we can do it. But right now, not enough people know who these people are. Like can't just be P Square. Anyway, P Square broken up, right? So it can't just be P Square. Can't just be Wizkid, because Wizkid is on a pop level. Burna Boy is on a pop level. So when you start small, you want to get some of the smaller artists. Even they are going to charge a decent amount of money. That's what I'm talking about. Like Jamaican artists have a different vibe. It's Rasta, it's roots. They come for the culture, they come for the community, to big up the people. But these Nigerians, most of them, the Africans, are not on that level. They're pop stars already. They're all about bling and this and that. So it's a bit different.
And that's because these people are huge in
That's
their
what I mean. They're
countries.
massive in
They're
Africa.
celebrities, they're mega
They're selling out
stars.
stadiums.
Yemi Alade,
Yeah.
Olamide, all of these people.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
if you
they're
book
really good.
Olamide in India, no one's going to know who he is. No one's going to. You put him on a flyer, they're going to be like, "Huh? What does that mean?" Right?
That's true.
Yeah. So that's why, I mean, it's the same thing for Jamaican artists. Not like most of these Jamaican artists are that popular. That's why we have to go with the people, who we know are going to deliver quality and we know are just going to be like, it's cool. We'll cut you some slack. We'll come for, a lower fee. You're flying us all the way from Jamaica. It's cool, But yeah,
Like, I want to actually ask you this. So, like, now that, because I think parties play an important role when you're also like trying to promote music, because you're just vibing and you're enjoying, and sometimes you're like, oh wow, this music is really good, and you just go like, okay, I like this kind of music, and you attend more of this stuff. So now that we don't have this thing, do you think it's gonna be a little difficult, like especially with dance hall parties, that's a big thing to
well, I
promote
mean,
music also? Yeah.
definitely. I mean, I think that's one of the most beautiful things about, having worked with so many dancers over the years. Obviously Afrontal, Smash Them, you guys, we've all done events together. So there's definitely a vibe created when you bring the music and the dance together in a party setting. And times are different, and it is a YouTube generation, it is an Instagram generation, especially for you dancers. You guys think, no, I don't want to say you two, but generally as dancers, you'll look at these moves on YouTube and Instagram and think dancehall and think Afrobeats, whatever it is. But it's so different, So yeah, I mean, from that point of view, we must get this vaccine going as soon as possible so we can party again, because you'll never get that vibe. I mean, no matter what you do online. Aakanksha tried to bring in the music. I don't know, how did that go with Starboy that day?
It was good. It was pretty good.
Just so you guys know, Aakanksha held a dance workshop online. Teachers from all over the world, right?
Yes, there were teachers from London, there were teachers from Nigeria, teachers from Angola, and there were also Indian artists. So yeah, so we the concept was to introduce Indian dancers to various dance music as well as dance styles of African culture. So we had kizomba, we had coupe de kale, we had Afrobeat, we had kuduro and
Nice.
Afro House. So, it was such an eye opener for all of us because at times, I mean, obviously, people tend to confuse Afro and dancehall, but people also don't know that.
Even I did that
Yeah.
earlier.
that within Afro dance, there are so many different styles. So yeah, so that happened, and it was quite a success, as well as the after party. It
So
was
tell
a
us a bit
great
about the
vibe.
after party. So you had Starboy.
Starboy Nation on board. Yes, it was. So we recently got in touch, I guess, beginning of this year, and we've been seeing each other's work and admiring each other's work when it comes to music and dance. So the first person who came to my mind when I, came about this concept was him. So I spoke to him and got him on board, and he had his entire team, dancing, vibing,
Oh wow.
and it was
So how did you
much
guys operate the
fun.
party?
It happened everything on Zoom.
Okay.
So yeah, the new arena. But I mean, obviously it is different from offline parties, but we I mean, the vibe was just on point. We were still enjoying ourselves to the core. The music was kick-ass.
Nice.
I mean, we not even for a moment did we feel tired. It went on for over an hour,
Wow.
and this was after like a rigorous dance class by Blacko. So Blacko did a Afro choreography class, and we were tired by the end, but still we went on dancing because the music was it was just pumping us up.
Yeah.
But I think that's like that's one thing, like it works also, but for like dancehall I feel, yeah, we need to come back to the club, because like holding these events, making sure there's a party is good, because like what you're learning is you're learning, but when you're in a dance hall setting, or in that Afro setting, that is something else. Like that energy is something else, and I think that's what it's about ultimately. Like this is a soul social dancing, and this is not like a classroom setting sort of vibe, so you need to have those things. So like, I just want, do you think, like, for you also, do you think now that we're holding events, this is a bit tough in that sense? Like, you held living room dancer, which was amazing, but yeah.
Yeah, the living room
Kudos.
dance off was a great initiative that Iron Smash them did together. I think they put in a lot of work and effort to make it happen. And all of you all were there and participated and gave us energy, which was amazing. But I think, it's a pale comparison to what real life is, right? Virtual life. But I guess you try and make the most of it. You try and make the best of it. As someone playing music from this side, it's very, very difficult, because when you're DJing or MCing, you're getting vibes from a crowd like immediately, right? You're like, they're there in front of you, and okay, this track has them. Okay, this track didn't quite work. Okay, I can kind of get on the mic and pump them up a little bit. Very hard to do that on screen. Like, for me, I'm not the type of DJ or selector who's used to people sitting, right? Like, if people sit at a show, I'll get on the mic and yell at them. So to see that happening in, even online, I was not cool with that. Like, some sipping on wine and just like bouncing like something. You better get up and start dancing. That's not good enough. So yeah, you gotta adapt, and you gotta be like, okay, people are just gonna chill. They're just gonna like have dinner and watch you, and that's so weird. But yeah, that's how it is. And I think for us as musicians, like from the music point of music side of things, I think it's really, really tough. I mean, I know a lot of people have been trying to do sets online and deliver experiences, but it's so difficult, especially as a DJ. Because a DJ, it's dependent. Like, I mean, if you're going to watch a DJ, you can listen to a DJ set at home, but if you're actually going to watch a DJ, what are you actually watching? Because at a club, you're not really watching a DJ. You're enjoying the vibe, right? You're dancing. It's a whole vibe. So unless it's a band, which is still okay, you can kind of put on a live show, and stream it, and it's still kind of, I guess, acceptable in a way, but it's very, very difficult from a music point of view. That way, I think you dancers, you all have adapted much more to the online medium and much quicker. I mean, anyway, most of you all live on Instagram as it is, just checking out other, dance videos and people's moves and all that. But I think even from a class point of view, you guys have really been able to make that transition quite easily, right?
Yeah, like that. I won't say the transition was easy, but it was needed. Like, we had to just do something about it. But it's different. Like, now that, because it's a little more like, I met my crew, and we had a little party in the studio. Like, we just played songs, and I was like, oh my god, like, we're just
So it
5
feels
people,
like-
and it feels like, okay, this whole studio is filled up with people, and that is what's missing on Zoom classes. I mean, like, even when we're in a class, I think we're just like, we have a little party vibe. We are sharing the energy with each other, but there's no energy. It's just we're teaching right now. There's no, like, I don't feel the vibrations. Like, it's just, yeah, okay, this is what's happening. So it's definitely different, and I would like to go back to the pre-COVID times.
I think we all
We
would.
have forgotten how to dance around people because we've been dancing within 4 walls for so long now. But that's. I mean, you can't compare the two. I mean, it's so different.
But what about okay, forget the energy. What about like technically? Like, for example, when you, as someone who, I mean, I'm sure you two give classes and you take classes online. So, from both perspectives, are there times where you forget the energy? I'm just saying technically you might miss things or it becomes a little difficult, or is that pretty much okay, you think? To like teach people or to receive information, you think you're able to get it?
Like, I think for me, I'm able to give out, because like, it's definitely increased work, in terms like, we have to ask them for videos also, to really, because when there are a lot of people on one screen, it's not possible to like see each one of them. So I think technically it's okay, but yeah, I mean, it's takes up, I think, more energy, because then it's like, it's become tiring. Like, after a class, the pre-COVID times, I would be pumped up, But when I'm doing a Zoom class, I'll be like pumped down. Like I'll be like, okay, I'm done for the day. So I don't know, like, how is it going for you?
That's so weird because people think that, it's easier because it's online. You're sitting at home and doing it. But no, it's actually much more difficult for us, like both for like
To
music
give or to
artists and
take,
dancers.
both.
Both. I think both. Like even as a student and even as a teacher, I feel that it's just much more smoother and easier and obviously much more convenient when you're doing or taking a class offline.
Yeah.
But one thing that I found was a great advantage was that initially when people, artists, whether they were musicians or dancers, they would come on their Instagram lives and talk and interact and play or dance. So I think it's somewhere in that that
Definitely, in
grim
terms of
area.
connectivity, I feel we've
Right.
increased for sure.
So you were able to
Like,
get some bits of knowledge
Yeah,
and
a lot of-
connections.
yeah,
much.
Yeah.
we've been able to take so many classes.
So
Gives
many
like we're
classes that have
reaching
been
different
for
parts of the
free.
country.
Well, I guess that's the
also.
big advantage. Is like
Yeah.
now you have students from all around the world and all over
Exactly.
India, not
Yeah.
just Delhi, right? Yeah.
I mean, if I'm taking a class, I'm dancing with someone from Philippines, someone from the US.
Very cool.
So I wouldn't have been
Definitely.
able to experience it just in Delhi.
I think after this, yeah, like one thing that's really helped with connectivity, and I think a lot of people, even I've interacted with a lot of new students who have never like been. So I am like, I'm hoping they would be coming to the parties now later, and be able to like experience this in person also.
For sure.
Like that's my definitely like my goal also, that all these people we're reaching out, we're able to, yeah.
And
Great.
also, like just wanted to mention this thing that comes to African culture. The concept of dance challenges has become very popular.
Sure.
Right, so a lot of music was created like during the lockdown and during this entire process, and people were just tagging each other and creating moves together and then combining and editing their videos.
Wow.
So yeah, so this
Very
also
cool.
led to like a lot of
Creativity.
and
Nice.
bringing out the best in people. I mean, they were just trying to make the best use of this time.
Yeah, I feel like dance challenges have exploded in this lockdown. Like this is next level.
Jerusalem
Everything
was
has it done.
worldwide popular, everywhere. So that was one, song that really connected the entire world.
Crazy.
I mean, the point when we had TikTok here, you would see there were like millions of videos being created on it. So even now, like it's still you have like the elderly, you have kids, you have the young.
But
generation.
Afro moves, your moves are not so complicated also, no? It's
They
one
are.
count, two count moves.
No, I mean,
I think that really helps because
I
like
think-
now the dancehall moves that we are getting,
Way
I
too
they're
think
way
the
too
complicated.
complicated.
popular moves are not complicated. That's what I feel. Because it just becomes popular because it's
Easy to do. Everyone
fun.
can do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I somehow also feel that eventually when someone picks up, a non-Afro dancer picks up that move, he just creates it into something of his own, and then eventually it's like a Chinese whisper. Eventually the step only turns out to be something
Absolutely.
different. Right? We talk about Zanku and Shaku Shaku.
Yeah.
These are
the
actually
easy ones.
these are actually not easy.
Oh, really?
Actually,
The
not
variations that we're seeing are
yeah,
kind of
you're
like friendly.
seeing just the hand movement and
Right,
the upper
right,
body
right.
movement.
Right.
You do not know what to do with the shoulders or what to
Mhm.
do with the
But I guess
pelvis,
that's
what to do with the
like-
legs.
True.
But that's, I mean, definitely that technique is needed, but that's okay. Like it's at least getting that interest, and that will actually push like someone to
absolutely
eventually come for a party or come for the class or something.
cool. Well, I think we just have a couple of minutes left. Maybe you want to just tell us a little bit about like what 2021 might look like, for you, like after hopefully the vaccines and all come out, like more workshops on the cards, more.
Definitely. So I just wanted to share this experience. I was in Dubai last year, and I was there to attend a couple of dancehall and Afro dance workshops. And they usually have a battle right after their workshop. It happens every year. It's called Motor Dancers Afrobeat Championship. So this was 2019, and I had no intentions of participating. And I just gave my name because someone needed a partner, and I happened to win it.
Wow. Amazing.
So this was when I realized, because I was so scared because I was competing with international dancers. I mean, dancers from Nigeria and Ghana. And I was like, I can't compete with them. Just look at their bodies, look at the way they groove. And we had A Star and DJ Daff and all these. We had Petit Afro,
Mhm.
really popular dance artists judging. And what they were looking for, just this little flavor that we had, and they really liked that flavor. So,
Awesome.
and that's how it also connected to a lot of musicians, a lot of dancers, not just in Indian, but a
Right.
lot of international artists. And Petit Afro would actually come. He actually came up to me and he told me that, someone sent me a dance video of some kids from India, and I've been meaning to come here, and I really want to, come here and take a workshop. I was like, one day for sure we're gonna make this. We're gonna make this happen
So that's
because
your plan.
yeah, and they have been reposting our videos. They have
Okay.
been giving us so much love.
So you think you could do like an edition of their
Definitely.
bring their workshop here?
Definitely, like
Very
an
cool, yeah.
offline workshop, and like fly
Yeah.
them down. It
Definitely.
obviously will need some time, but I for a fact know that all these artists are really looking forward to India.
Amazing. Well, let us know if you need an after party at any point.
Done.
What about you, Lolita? What's the plan for
So
2020?
my event got cancelled because of COVID. So
Yeah,
definitely that is due, and we are definitely gonna come back with that. So definitely gonna have a second edition of Is a Dance Salting. And let's see how many artists maybe collaborate with Goa Sunsplash for our next event.
Definitely. Yeah, why not?
So yeah, like let's see, like, but definitely bringing more artists and doing more stuff for the culture and
Awesome.
in India.
And
Yeah.
building your crew, your new Irie
Oh
dance
yeah, of
crew.
course, my crew, my babies, for sure. We
Nice.
started off at a very bad timing, but yeah, we're definitely planning to do a lot of stuff and come up with some new things.
Amazing. All right. Well, thank you, beautiful ladies, for joining us at Boxart FM at Agency. Shout out to the whole team, Soro, Mo City in the place, General Zooz, signing out.
Yes, thank you everybody for listening live. You can access the audio on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and the video will be available on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us, making this radio pop up something that is inclusive for everything, not just music. So, yeah, have a great day. Peace.